Ladies and gentlemen, across America and around the globe, welcome to the AGN TCL Streaming News Network, home of America's good news to the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever in the world you happen to be. I'm Austin Miles, and I truly believe that everyone has a seed of greatness within them, and that includes every one of you watching this. We hear people say, well, she is just a housewife. He is just a taxi driver. He's just an airline pilot. Well, there's no such thing, because everybody stands out, because everyone has that seed of greatness within them. I'm sure you heard about Captain Sellinger of Danville, California, who was the heroic pilot who landed his plane safely in the Hudson River. Otherwise, they would have crashed and they would have all been killed. And when he did that landing in the river, every one of those passengers were safe. Not one person got hurt. Well, I've got something else about another heroic airline pilot. This was sent to me by Helen Troutman, the CEO of Results Unlimited in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this one is titled, God Bless This Airline Captain. Now, the airline captain had come back from a flight, and he wrote about it to keep this on his record. And he wrote, my lead flight attendant came to me and said, we have an HR on this flight. HR stands for Human Remains. Are they military, I asked. Yes, she said. Is there an escort, I asked. Yes, I've already assigned him a seat. Would you please tell him to come to the flight deck? You can board him early, I said. A short while later, a young Army sergeant entered the flight deck. He was the image of the perfectly dressed soldier. He introduced himself, and I asked him about his soldier. The escorts of these fallen soldiers talk about them as though they are still alive and still with us. My soldier is on his way back to Virginia, he said. He proceeded to answer my questions, but offered no words of his own. I asked him if there was anything I could do for him, and he said no. I told him he had the toughest job in the military, and that I appreciated the work that he does for the families of our fallen soldiers. The first officer and I got out of our seats to shake his hand. He left the flight deck to find his seat. We completed our pre-flight checks, pushed back, and performed an uneventful departure. About 30 minutes into our flight, I received a call from the lead flight attendant in the cabin. I just found out the family of the soldier we are carrying is on board, she said. She then proceeded to tell me that the father, mother, wife, and 2-year-old daughter were escorting their son, husband, and father home. The family was upset because they were unable to see the container that the soldier was in before we left. We were on our way to a major hub at which the family was going to wait 4 hours for the connecting flight home to Virginia. The father of the soldier told the flight attendant that knowing his son was below him in the cargo compartment and being unable to see him was too much for him and the family to bear. He had asked the flight attendant that anything could be done to allow them to see him upon our arrival. The family wanted to be outside by the cargo door to watch the soldier being taken off the airplane. I could hear the desperation in the flight attendant's voice when she asked me if there was anything I could do. I'm on it, I said. I told her I would get back to her. Airborne communications with my company normally occurs in the form of email-like messages. I decided to bypass this system and contact my flight dispatcher directly on a secondary radio. There is a radio operator in the operations control center who connects you to the telephone of the dispatcher. I was in direct contact with the dispatcher. I explained the situation I had on board with the family and what it was the family wanted. He said he understood and he would get back to me. 2 hours went by, and I had not heard from the dispatcher. We were going to get busy soon, and I needed to know what to tell the family. I sent a text message asking for an update. I saved the return message from the dispatcher, and the following is the text. Captain, sorry it has taken so long to get back to you. There is a policy on this now, and I had to check on a few things. Upon your arrival, a dedicated escort team will meet the aircraft. The team will escort the family to the ramp and the plane's side. A van will be used to load the remains with a secondary van for the family. The family will be taken to their departure area and escorted into the terminal where the remains can be seen on the ramp. Now, this is a private area for the family only. When the connecting aircraft arrives, the family will be escorted onto the ramp and plane side to watch the remains being loaded for the final leg home. Captain, most of us here in flight control are veterans. Please pass our condolences on to the family. Thanks. I sent a message back telling flight control thanks for a good job. I printed out the message and gave it to the lead flight attendant to pass on to the father. The lead flight attendant was very thankful and told me, "You have no idea how much this will mean to them." Things started getting busy for the descent, approach, and landing. After landing, we cleared the runway, had taxied to the ramp area. The ramp is huge, with 15 gates on either side of the alleyway. It is always a busy area, with aircraft maneuvering every which way to enter and to exit. When we entered the ramp and checked in with the ramp controller, we were told that all traffic was being held for us. There is a team in place to meet the aircraft, we were told. It looked like it was all coming together. Then I realized that once we turned the seatbelt sign off, everyone would stand up at once to get out and delay the family from getting off the airplane. Well, as we approached our gate, I asked the co-pilot to tell the ramp controller we were going to stop short of the gate to make an announcement to the passengers. He did that, and the ramp controller said, "Take your time." I stopped the aircraft and set the parking brake. I pushed the public address button and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have stopped short of our gate to make a special announcement. We have a passenger on board who deserves our honor and respect. His name is Private," and we blanked out the name on purpose, "a soldier who recently lost his life. The private is under your feet in the cargo hold. Escorting him today is Army Sergeant," and that name also was held. "Also on board are his father, mother, wife, and daughter. Your entire flight crew is asking for all passengers to remain in their seats to allow the family to exit the aircraft first. Thank you." We continued the turn to the gate, came to a stop, and started our shutdown procedures. A couple of minutes later, I opened the cockpit door. I found the two forward flight attendants crying, something you just do not see. I was told that after we came to a stop, every passenger on the aircraft stayed in their seats, waiting for the family to exit the aircraft. When the family got up and gathered their things, a passenger began to clap his hands. Moments later, more passengers joined in, and soon the entire aircraft was clapping hands and saying words of God. "God bless you. I am so sorry. Thank you. Be proud," and other kind words that were uttered to the family as they made their way down the aisle and out of the airplane. They were escorted down to the ramp to finally be with their loved one. Many of the passengers disembarking thanked me for the announcement I had made. Well, they were just words, I told them. I can say them over and over again, but nothing I say will bring back that brave soldier. And then he says, "I respectfully ask that all of you reflect on this event and the sacrifices that millions of our men and women have made to ensure our freedom and safety in these United States of America." And then the captain added a footnote. "As a Vietnam veteran, I can only think of all the veterans, including the ones that rode below the deck on their way home, and how they were treated. When I read things like this, I am proud that our country has not turned their backs on our soldiers returning from the various war zones and given the respect that they so deserve." I feel that everybody who served in the military of the United States are hearing this or maybe reading this with a tear in your eyes. Well, I know I too had that as I read it. I'm Austin Miles. Our camera director is Tim Vaughn. Our editor, Tim Vaughn Jr. Floor director is Shirley Miles. And our art director and set director is Michelle Tripp. God bless you, and may all your prayers be answered. Amen.